So URL is nothing but to open any website, you would require a URL. Similarly, you will get the URL, but username and password should be given to you to log into the application. So enter the username and password. I entered the username and password. Login. The moment you log in, there are many responsibilities. Here, whatever you can see in the left hand side, these are all responsibilities. What are these responsibilities? Responsibility, it is generic meaning. What is our responsibility? What is our role and responsibility? It's a common question, right? If we are all working in Tata Motor is using Oracle application. Of course, it is using Oracle applications. And after that, it is using both the ERPs. And the moment you log in, you can see left hand side, these are the responsibilities. Let us say I am sales guy in Tata Motor. Then I have to sell to customer. Some customer approaches to me for buying the car. And who is that customer? What is the name? What is his location? Where to ship the item? I have to ship the item to the customer location. I would require some of the details from the customer. What is your name? What is your locations? Bill to and ship to means customer approaches for the car. Of course, that customer would require 10 cars. Then what happens? I will book the order based on the customer requirement. I book the order. In the order, I have to mention the items are required at one location of the customer, but customer is having another location from where he pays the amount to the company, to the Tata Motors. That means customer would require physical items at one location, but invoice should be sent to another location. That's what we call it is bill to means to where we have to send invoice. Ship to means we have to send the items to that location. That is nothing but warehouse. That is nothing but inventory of the customer. Now, being a sales guy, I have to book the order, I have to book the sales order, I have to reserve the item against the customer, I have to create some of the documents, legal documents like sales order, commercial invoice, delivery note. So, for doing my work, I should require some responsibility through which I can access all the application forms. So, in this process, our sales module is order management. Similarly, if I am a buyer for Tata Motor is the company which is manufacturing a car, but it's not manufacturing tire. Do you agree for this? Yes, you have to agree. Tata Indica car, take Tata Indica car. Whereas tires, JK tires, it's not Tata tire. Why? Tata Indica is a Tata Motor car, but the tire is JK tire, Goodyear, MRF. Vendors are different. It's not Tata. That means what are the items you would require to manufacture a car you are buying in advance and you are keeping in your inventory. See, this is the first confusion we'll be having. This application will be used by somebody. I am approaching to the Tata Motor, or Tata Motor itself is using Oracle application, and I am the employee of Tata Motors and we are working on the application. First, you have to treat yourself, you are the employee of Tata Motor and this application has been used by Tata Motor and you are the respective end user. You just think like that. Then only the confusion will not be there. Otherwise, what happens? The user who is using this application might be different. I am going to them. If you are going to them, then what happens? That person is the employee of Tata Motor. You are from outside, you are going to there. That means you are a customer. Don't treat yourself as a customer. First, we are the users of this application. That's what you have to fix. That is a thumb rule. If I am accessing something, that means this application is mine and this responsibility is mine. I'm working on this and whatever I am entering, in front of me somebody is there, and those details and his details, if you are entering his details, that's it. You are selling the item, then he is the customer. In front of you there is a customer. You are buying the item, in front of you there is a supplier. But either way, whether you are selling, whether you are buying, this application is same, and you are on the application, you are the first person. The second person is either buyer or, sorry, the second person is either supplier or customer. It's very simple. First treat yourself like that, then confusion will not be there. After logging to the application, we have all these responsibilities. I told you, if I am the sales guy, order management is the responsibility. If I am the buyer, purchasing module is the responsibility. If I am the warehouse guy, I am the storekeeper, then inventory module is the responsibility. Similarly, I am the sales guy who decides the selling price. That means pricing module, advanced pricing module is the responsibility of the sales guy. Similarly, if I am from production guy, production department, that means I am going to manufacture the product. That means I am working on work in process. Work in process is the module. Similarly, I am manufacturing some product, but the cost of the item should be decided based on the material that has been consumed in the process of manufacturing and the labor, the resource who has worked on that particular manufacturing job, manufacturing work order. Because if you are manufacturing, I would require a welder, fabricator, fitter, then production engineer. They are going to spend some hours of time. When they are spending hours of time, for each hour I am paying something. I am paying means Tata Motor is the company where we are working as production engineers. If we are working for 8 hours, there is a salary. That means that is the cost to the company that should be included in case you are manufacturing one car by spending 1 hour. I have to take the technician time as a cost element. That means resource, how much, what is the value of resource labor you spend to manufacture one car. That means $100 for 1 hour, $100, let us say. Machine you use it for 2 hours. If you use this machine 2 hours, for 1 hour it should be charged $500. Then 500 plus 100, 600. Then you might have used the raw materials and sub-assemblies like tires, chassis, body, infrastructure, engine, spare parts, brake, clutch, steering, painting. Then what else? All these items you might have bought for some price and you maintain in the store. And with what price you purchased, that becomes the cost of that particular raw material or sub-assembly or component. Then in the process of manufacturing, you are assembling all those raw materials, sub-assemblies, components in order to get the product. That means how much is the labor, how much is the resource time, how much is the machine time, and what is the raw material cost, sub-assemblies cost, component cost, all together, which is coming around 2 lakhs or $200,000 or $20,000 or $30,000. If you say the cost became when you manufacture one car, operations, end of the operations, you might have got some product. That product cost has been derived by ERP from the system and saying that it is $10,000. If the cost of the item is $10,000, are you selling at $10,000? Then definitely you have to add profit. You should have added the profit. Then only you can decide the selling price. The cost to the company is 10,000 to manufacture a product. Then you are selling at 10,000. Is there any profit? Nothing. If you sell at 20,000, then 10,000 is the profit, from which I can generate the revenue, and from that revenue, I can expend the money by giving the salaries to employees, by buying the products that I would require. All these maintenance cost and everything I can incur to the respective departments from the revenue only. If I want to run the company, I should have profits. Otherwise, you have to close the company. If in this process we have different departments. First, buyer should buy all the raw materials, sub-assemblies, components, and store in the storeroom. Storekeeper maintains the product, and production department would request the item that they would require to manufacture car. Whenever they request, storekeeper will issue the material. Then production guy, they complete one by one operation to get the car. When they got a car, again that car is going to be inventorized into the warehouse. That is nothing but again storeroom, open yard. Cars, usually the new cars will be kept in open yards only. Storekeeper will maintain all those finished good items. Then customer approaches. The sales guy books the order based on the customer requirement, and he asks for the items that he wants to ship to the customer, to whom he would. Items are maintained by storekeeper, so he should ask store guy, boss, I would require these many items because customer has confirmed the order. Okay, then he requests. Then what happens? When he requests, store guy will issue the material, transfer the material to the sales department. Then sales department reserves the item and confirms the delivery. Then they'll make sure they have received the cash or check. Then ship the item to the customer. This is normal procedure you can see in your day-to-day life. Here, how many departments involved? So one person cannot work on different departments. That means there are some roles and responsibilities to be carried out by each person, each employee. That's what I am going to discuss here. These are all responsibilities. If I talk about bills of material, I discussed manufacturing bills of material is the cost management module. And what are the responsibilities? What is the responsibility? Bills of material in which we will have some functions. If you expand this, if you click on that, you have these many functions. Wherever there is a plus icon, that is nothing but called as menu. 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 So if you expand that, and we have without plus icon, there are something. This is these are all called as functions. When you have functions, some set of functions called as menus, some set of menus called as responsibility. This is the basic thing. Next, if I want to collapse, you can collapse by clicking the minus icon. Then inventory, I said it is a responsibility for the warehouse guys. Then similarly, planners, we have quality. Then purchasing, if you go to purchasing, there is a responsibility. There is a receivables responsibility, accountant, receivables accountant. Then we have system administrator who creates the username and password. All these activities will be considered under system administrator. Similar warehouse manager who prints the labels. If you see in the retail market, every item is having a label, right? Barcode. How those barcodes are printed? That is from warehouse guy. Then work in process is the manufacturing responsibility. So like that, we have different responsibilities. To open the application, first of all, we have not yet opened the application. Just we logged into the application. After logging to the application, we have all these responsibilities, right? Rohan, please mute from your side. Then we have all these responsibilities. Under the each responsibility, we have different menus, and each menu again having different functions. Then we have all these responsibilities. If I want to open the application, you have to click on one responsibility and one function to open the application completely. Let us go to the basic module. That is, to perform sales, I would require inventory. To buy the item, I would require the inventory. To manufacture the item, I would require the inventory. Why? Basically, you are manufacturing an item. That item, to manufacture that item, you would require raw material, that is nothing but again item that has to come from inventory. You are buying something for which you are paying something, but ultimately you are receiving from the supplier as an item. That item again you have to keep in the store. So again, purchasing means inventory is the base again. Sales, what you are doing? You are selling an item. From where it is coming? It is from, again coming from inventory. You are manufacturing, selling, buying anything, that is nothing but the basic module, that is inventory. So let us start with inventory. Come to the inventory, expand. Then we have all these functions. Whenever there is no plus icon, you can see plus icon still. That is, these are called menus. If you go to any menu, again you can expand. These are all functions. If I click on any of those functions, then application will be opened completely. Let us click on that. Something. Okay, we are going to discuss all these functions. What are these? But to open the application, what should I do? I have to click on some function. Just click on sub-inventory transfer. What is sub-inventory? We are going to discuss. Okay. Next, I want to show you the application, how it looks like, what are the basic things, how you are going to log in with username and password. In the lab, we have the application. We have the practice instance that's called vision instance. Will be given with username and password. Enter. The common username is operations welcome. Operations is the username, welcome is the password. Enter, log into the application, open the responsibility. The way I click on the inventory, menu, responsibility, and we have the menu, transactions. You expand that menu. Again, we have sub-inventory transfer as a function. Click on the sub-inventory transfer, then completely the application has been opened. See, if you go there, if you click on Internet Explorer, see, we have this form and this form. This form is the main form, home page, right? When I clicked on that function, this additional form has opened. And after that, there is a Java icon form. This is nothing but Java initiated form. See, without Java, there is no ERP. So I would require all these ERPs based on some technology. So programmers, basically ours is non-programming. We are using the application. We are knowing all the functionalities of how this has to be implemented for a company. Our roles and responsibilities are different from technical. They are programmers. They are going to work based on our requirement. Our requirement means it's nothing but our requirement. It's not our requirement, it's client requirement. You are understanding the client requirement, you are gathering the requirement, and you are projecting on the document, and the document is going to be shared to the technical consultant, who is Java consultant, ADF consultant, SQL, PLSQL, DTK forms, reports, technical apps. We use it to say that. All these guys, they are going to understand our document and then they start development. When they develop, they come back to you saying that this has been developed because I have given the requirement, I know the requirement, let us test. I'm going to test. Being a consultant, what you are going to do? When I test, all these transactions should work by using those developments. Well, let us see that. If it is working, fine, it has been passed. Then ultimately deliver to the client. Now, this is the Java form. But have you observed here? Organizations. It is asking to open sub-inventory transfer. We clicked on sub-inventory transfer. Have you remembered that? In this form, what you did? You just clicked on sub-inventory transfer, right? Then all these three forms open. As long as you are working on your computer, on your application, you have to make sure all these three forms are open and not closed. At any point of time, you have closed anything, that means You are going to exit from the application. That's it. Again, you have to re-log in. So as long as you are working, other browsers you can close, but any of these three, if you are closing, that means you are quitting application. As simple as that. So when you click on some function, first of all, it will ask what organization, why we are getting organizations. Let us now come to the actual business. I discussed Tata Motor is the organization. What kind of organization it is? What kind of organization it is? It is a manufacturing company. It is a manufacturing company, right? Then, is it having only one branch? No. It is having across the India. It is also having across the world. That means Tata Motor is the one company which is having branches across the regions, across the countries, and across the different countries, and across the whole world. To do business across the world, what kind of controls a company should maintain? What kind of organization, what kind of branches, what kind of formalities, what kind of rules and regulations it should maintain? Let us see. Because this application has been designed by the functional consultant. There is a process followed in the world. Your sales, don't you know what is the process of sales? Approach the customer, convince the customer, get the customer, book the order, let the customer take the item, let customer pay the amount, then receive the cash. That's it. That is what sales process. And don't you know buying process? If you want to buy a laptop, what kind of laptop you would require? What is the RAM? With OS? Without OS? Is it laptop? Then what is the size of screen? 13 inches? 18 inches? What kind of screen it is? LED? LCD? Touch screen? Then what kind of? Then what about hard disk? Is it 1 terabyte, 500 GB, 350 or 80 GB? What about RAM? 8 GB, 16 GB? You have your own requirement, right? You put on paper. That is called requisition. You get that requisition, go to vendor. Obviously, you will be going to the market where all the computer shops are available. Go there. You go to one shop. Show the requirement to them. Based on your requirement, what you would expect? You would not expect the item to be bought immediately. Simply ask for the price. The supplier confirms that this is the price by means of quotation. That's what the supplier gives. The shopkeeper gives the quotation because you requested price. That is nothing but requesting a quotation. Request for quotation. When you raise request for quotation based on your requisition, it is the duty of shopkeeper to provide the quotation. When you got the quotation, you got all the info of price, warranty details, with warranty, what sign services, what details, what RAM, processor, everything is there. Quotation. That's it. Will you buy immediately? No. You will go to next shop. Again, same requirement, same request for quotation. Then he gives another quotation. Then you compare. Still not satisfied? Go to third shop. You got 3 quotations. Compare them. They said the best supplier. Go there. Confirm the order by raising a purchase order. Because you are buying, so in favor of you, you approach to them. So in favor of you, they will prepare sales order because they are selling and you are receiving. There will be a purchase order between you and the shopkeeper. That's it. There is a sales order from his point of view. You might be having some ERP. You will be entering the sales order, confirms the order, reserves the item, ships the item. You end of the transaction, he gives the invoice. Based on invoice, you are going to pay. When you pay, he gives the receipt. That receipt to be applied to the invoice. That's it over. Don't you know this procedure? This is called procure to pay, that's called order to cash, and make to order. These are the scenarios we are going to discuss in all this in all this training, in entire these 45 classes. We are going to discuss only these scenarios. What is procure to pay, what is order to cash, what is make to order. What is make to order? Somebody is approaching to make the item. Wipro requires 10 Tata Indica cars. Then what happens? Or 100 cars. Wipro, as a customer, approaches to Tata Motor saying that I would require 100 Tata Indica cars. I do not require all the 100 cars at a time, but this month I want 10, next month 10, like that. For the whole year, you should supply for every month 10 cars minimum. So entire order is for 100 cars can be fulfilled within 1 year. Then there should be a sales order. Based on the order, there is 10 requirement of 10 Tata Indica cars. So I have to intimate to the production department, boss, there is an order from the Wipro as a customer. So start manufacturing those 100 items. But we have the schedules. This month 10 items. So prepare first 10 items. Next month prepare next 10 items. Like that, you make sure within 12 months you are going to fulfill all the 100 items to Wipro. When there is an order, you are going to manufacture. That is called make to order. That's it. But these are all user transactions. But being a consultant, you should know something else. What is that? First of all, you should be good in business. You should be thorough with all these scenarios. After understanding all this business, then you are going to configure the system. If it is working for order to cash, how it is working? Somebody is booking the order, ultimately somebody has to ship the item. How the data transfer is happening? That's what we call it as configuration. That configuration, that is called setting up. Setting up the system is very important task. That is purely activity consultant activity that has to be done. Then only it works for all the scenarios. But if you start with setup, you will not understand anything. If you start with setup, you won't understand, because you are not knowing with, you are not well aware of the business itself. So how can you understand based on which business this system has been built? How can you understand? That is the reason in our strategy, in my strategy, in our institute, then we'll be starting with transactions. First of all, we should be comfortable in all the transactions. Then to enable those transactions, what kind of setup you have to do, what kind of configuration you have to do, that's what we are going to see after completing all the transactions. Then you can understand for doing that business, what should be done, what setup should be done, what setup enables this functionality, what setup disables this functionality. all these things all these things you'll be coming to know after completing the configuration or setups. That is the main thing. Now coming to our point, this is how we log into the application. But for first class you should know, because from tomorrow onwards, whatever the transaction we are doing, that is based on organization structure only. If you want to understand organization structure, for an interview point of view also, organization structure is very important. We have taken the Tata Motor is the company which is doing the business in India also, within the states, in the states also, within the cities, in the cities also we have different branches. Do you agree for this? It should be yes. Then if Tata Motor is maintaining the different branches across India, across the states, and within the states we have the cities, within the cities we have different locations. If you go to Hyderabad, Tata Motor is having different branches at different regions. Let us decide. If you go to a country, Tata Motor is also having the branch in US, It is having brands. Tata Motor is selling Tata Indica, Tata Safari. We have Tata Sumo, Scorpio. We have different cars. Similarly, if you come to US, we have Range Rover, Land Rover, Jaguar. We have all these brands under Tata Group again. Please mute from your side, Nazir. Now, when you have business across the world, when you have business across the world, Tata Motor should maintain the main company, head of the groups, which will operate all the which will handle all the companies, all the branches across the world. That means it should have head of the groups. That head of the group, we call it as business group. When I say business group, we have taken the example of Tata Motor. So the business group of Tata Motor is the head of the group companies across the world. You can have one business group or two business groups also. Somebody says, should I have only one? I would say, yes, you should have. You should have only one. Somebody says, I want two. Yes, you can have two also. But what is the logic behind having multiple and single? If you are having one business group, it is very simple. That means as long as you are maintaining the same HR policies, that means you are going to have only one business group. If you are having different HR policies, benefits to the employee, your gratuity are different, rules and regulations of gratuities, HR employee, HR management different, then definitely you are going to maintain two business groups. Your answer should be, it is the interview question. Tell me the organization structure. You will tell, in which the first one is business group. Why should we have one business group or multiple business groups? You should be able to answer. Your answer should be, as long as we are having HR policies are same, then we are going to have one business group. Two means we are having for those two business groups. Under one business group, we have different branches. Another business group is having another set of branches. So that branch rules and regulations of HR management is different, and these HR policies are different. That is the reason we are going to have two business groups. But you can have multiple, you can have single also. That is what business group is, the topmost company. Keep in mind. Then another business group. If Tata Motor is having business group, is it enough? No. Why? Because if I have head of the groups, it should deal with different types of governments. Why? If you take India, Indian government is having certain rules and regulations to establish a company. If Tata Group wants to establish a leather factory in our locality, do you agree? Leather factory, when you are talking about leather factory, there is a pollution, water pollution, chemical pollution, everything, environment pollution. You will get foul smell. It is leather factory. It cannot be in our residential locality. That means there are rules and regulations, right? Similarly, if you are doing the business, are you doing the business within India? No. Across the world means different countries. Different countries, when you are dealing with different countries and each country is having their own currency, then currencies are different. And there should be a strategy which can bring the business into one platform where we can have different currencies, but there should be a conversion. If you are doing the business in India, rupee is the currency. If you are doing the business in US, US dollar is the currency. If you are doing the business in Germany, Europe, euro is the currency. In the Middle East, you have real, dirham, and anything. You know, can you say that all these currencies are same? No. Then there should be a way to handle that currency. That's where, under the business group, the first one we should have general ledger. What is general ledger? The general ledger is the one in the organization which deals with different currencies, different calendars, different chart of accounts, different conventions. What is this? What are these C's? I told you four C's. What are these? General ledger is the organization which is coming under business group should deal with different currencies. Can be local currency, can be foreign currency. What is our local currency? Indian rupee is the local currency. Whereas foreign currency, any other currencies apart from India are foreign currencies, including Pakistan, Nepal, Bangladesh, US, Europe, any country you take, Middle East. So I should have under the business group, ledger should be there. Should I have one or multiple? Yes, you should have multiple in case your currencies are different. Not only currency, not only currency, but also calendar. What is calendar? What is calendar? Somebody says fiscal year, financial year. What is financial year? Financial year is nothing but we are having a kind of calendar starting from this month to this month, March to April. We used to say, right? Tax filing should be done before April. Why you are doing? That is the end of fiscal year, financial year. You can have March to April, January to December, 12 months, 13 months, 24 months, 48 months. Somebody defines what is 48 months means what? We can have 48 periods, not months actually. If you talk about months, only 12 months are possible. In an year, how many months are there? Only 12 months. But when I say 48 or 24, those are periods, not months. 1 month you can split into 4 periods, saying that 8 days or 7 days into one period means weekly. So I can have 4 periods in 1 month. If you decide like this, for 12 months, how many? 48. If you say 1 month is equal to one period, then 12 months is 12 months we are going to have. And apart from that, for every period, there should be an adjustment period. What is adjustment period? For every month, we will have different transactions, different sales, different buyings. And after that, when our month ends, then we have to close that period. But we got some discrepancy. Discrepancy means deviation, some differences in our accounts. We are human beings. You can do any mistake at any point of time. When you are doing mistakes, you have to correct it. When you are correcting, that means when you have closed, then you cannot pass any adjustment in the closed period. To pass the adjustment, I should do in the open periods only. That means there should be a period which has been opened but not closed. Your closing means you are not letting anybody to do the transaction within that month. When you reach to month end, 31st of January, somebody sold the item on January month, but the same sales you want to enter in the February, then your revenue will be wrong. You might have calculated as February revenue, but actual revenue was done in the month of January. It should be tracked in the month of January, not in the February. But if you open that January, if you keep open even after completing what January month, then there is a possibility of doing a transaction in the January month. So that can be recognized in January, not in February. So if you want to do the transactions of February, you have to do in the February month itself. When you cross the February, that means March has come. You have to do the March transactions. But any discrepancy after closing, that should be passed in the adjustment period. If you have for each month, if you have one adjustment period, like that I can have 24 periods. What does it mean? For each period there is an adjustment period. If you say I have 13 periods, means what? 12 periods means 12 months plus one adjustment period for all the 1 year. For January to December, any discrepancy in the January, you will be passing in the 13th period. Any discrepancy in the February, you will be passing in. You close that period February, then you close, and after closing, you pass any deviation that will be adjusted in the month of 13th period. So that's what. If calendar is for our Indian branch, I want 12 to 13 months calendar. For Middle East, I want 24 periods. In US, I want 48 periods. Whenever there is a change in the periods in the calendar, then we are going to have different ledger. Ledger 1, ledger 2, ledger 3. How many ledgers you are going to have? That will be decided based on how many currencies you are dealing. Those many ledgers should be there. Okay. How many calendars you have? Those many ledgers should be maintained. Each ledger will be having one currency, one calendar, one convention, one chart of account structure. What is chart of account? It's very simple. If you are having accounting background, it's very easy to understand. But we are all non-accounting background. What is chart of account? Account. What is the purpose of account? You have bank account. You have mobile account. What is the network you are using? Airtel, AT&T, or Verizon? What else? Airtel, Tata Docomo. We have this money. So based on the network, but there is a mobile number. Yes, no sir, please mute from your side. Now we have different networks. When you have different networks, for each network there is an account number. What is that account number? That is nothing but mobile number. Your mobile number itself is an account number. How you are paying the bill? You are paying to somebody's number or your number? Your number, right? That means your account. You are putting the amount in your account. Then company is taking. The network company is taking. Simple. You have the bank account. Why? The debit or credit should be tracked. That's it. Deposit, withdraw. We have only two transactions. When you put, your account is getting debited. Your account is getting debited, right? So there are only two types of transactions. When you have the account, there is a debit, there is a credit. What is debit and what is credit? You might have seen, all of you might be having a saving account, ICIC or SBI, whatever it may be. It is having 10 digit number or 12 digit number, or somebody is having 18 digit number. If you have Kotak Bank, 18 digit number. Then what happened? Why we are going to have these many numbers? If you take mobile number, 10 digit number. Why we are going to have? Have you remembered if you would have used the mobile number during the period of 2001 to 2007? If you would have used after 2007, that has been changed. Port exchange. What is that? In olden days, during 2001 to 2007, what happened, The moment you tell the mobile number, I can say what network you are using. But nowadays, now you are using Tata Docomo. If something happens with Tata Docomo, I will shuttle down. I don't want your services. You are the worst. You are the worst services. Your services are worst. I don't want your services. I want to switch over to Docomo. Sorry, Airtel or Vodafone. But having the same number, that feasibility is not there before 2007. That means the first 5 digits indicating network and next 5 digits indicating customer ID. If you take the same number, the phone number, if I ask you the phone number, you are telling 10 digit number. If somebody asks the same number from foreign countries, okay? Then what do you say? Will you say 10 digit number? You will say 0091 and you add 10 digit number. What is that 0091? Is a country code. That means there are certain digits which indicates some entity, something to track. That is the reason the moment you say the account number, if you go to ICICI Bank, the person who knows the account number, who asks the account number of yours, the moment you say 008, that means your branch is that. You are from AP state, you are from so and so city. So they used to say why? The first three digits indicate region, next three digits indicate branch, next three digits indicates the what kind of account it is. Is it saving account? Is it current account? Is it loan account? Is it home loan account? Is it personal loan account? Is it credit card account? They're easily coming to know that. That means what is chart of account? Chart of account is nothing but having different numbers which are indicating different segments. What is segment? Nothing but different entity. What is entity? Something here. It's simple. Can be department, can be account number, can be branch code, can be company code, can be department code, can be employee name. But you are forming all those numbers and finally you are getting 10 digit or 12 digit or 18 digit number. That single number is nothing but chart of account. That chart of account is nothing but the chart of all the segments arranged in a sequence or arranged in different combinations. So that is what we call it a chart of account. Chart of account basically used for tracking the transactions that we have in our business. Now, not only phone number, you take landline number. Till now we discussed bank account, your mobile number. Let us take landline number. Tell me your landline number. Somebody says from Hyderabad, 040. Why are you saying 040? Are you answering to Bangalore guy? Are you answering to foreign guy? If you are answering to foreign guy, Then what do you say? You will add 0091 40. Why are you adding 40? 40 meant for Hyderabad. Why are you adding 0091? 0091 meant for country. Then you are saying 8 digit number 2345678 or 2385924. That number is customer ID. So you are combining all these digits and you are deriving one number. That number is nothing but chart of account. When you are paying the bill, your number is the account number. You are paying against the account number. This is what chart of account. So whenever the chart of account structure is different, somebody says your account number is 10 digits. If the mobile number is 10 digits in India, if somebody's mobile number is 8 digits in another country, then our chart of account structure is different. Then I should have ledger 1, ledger 2. Ledger 1 maintains 10 digit number, ledger 2 maintains 8 digit number. That's it. It's very simple. Now you should be able to answer why we are going to have different number of ledgers in the same business group. I can have multiple business groups, but each business group can have multiple ledgers. Why you are going to have multiple ledgers? Not a single ledger. Why we are going to have multiple ledgers? This is the answer. But what are the ledger you have? Within the ledger, if you take India ledger, which is having India currency, India calendar, I can say one ledger for India. But within India, can I say the next organization is legal entity? What is legal entity? Can I have one or multiple? Yes, you can have multiple, but you can have one also. Why you are going to have two or multiple or one? It again based on the reason. Why? In India, now come to the same leather factory. To establish leather factory, what kind of rules and regulations you have? I have certain rules and regulations to be followed. I have to establish this leather factory near by or outskirts of the residential area. That is the first rule. Next one, you should take the license of what? Non-violence. You are getting leather from animals. What kind of animals? You are killing them. So some certain rules are there. You can't kill the animals within residential area. There is a special area. There are certain rules and regulations to be followed. But Tata Motor is the company which is doing the business. Whether that business is coming in one particular kind of business, if it is leather factory, it can be different. If it is automotive industry, it can be different. It can be pharmaceutical industry, it can be different again. So there are certain rules and regulations for different companies. What are those companies? What are those rules and regulations? If you are going to have different set of rules and regulations and you are going to have legal entities, the company is the organization which takes care of all these rules and regulations for establishing that particular company in that particular locality. That is the reason we are going to have legal entity 1, legal entity 2, legal entity 3. Can I have one? Yes. As long as your rules and regulations are same across India, I can have one legal entity for India. But I can have two because your taxation is different from state to state. So usually whenever we are having different states, state-wise we'll be having one legal entity. So India will be having how many? 29 legal entities. Because each state, that is the reason you buy a car in Delhi and the same car you buy in Hyderabad. Is there price difference? Yes. The ex showroom price is 5 lakhs. But actually you go to Hyderabad branch and buy a car. Then you will come to know what is the difference. What is the difference between ex showroom price and on road price? It is day to day life here. It is a business. It's simple. That's what I'm telling, right? Whatever we are learning, everything is known to you, but we have to learn in a sequence. You should be expertised in the business in a sequence. You are buying, let us say, Maruti Alto. The Maruti Alto, the latest one, in Delhi showroom price is 5 lakhs, the top end, with alloy wheels, with airbags. The same car coming to Hyderabad. The minimum price is 6 lakhs. Why? Simple. To get that item from Delhi to Hyderabad, you might have expensed out transportation, you might have paid some insurance, some duty, tax, or you are crossing different states. So each state you are paying something, toll gates. Those are all expenses. So you have to include. So which is coming as 6 lakhs. I can't give you for 5 lakhs in Hyderabad. Simple. So there should be an organization which can handle all these situations of legal issues, taxation, rules, regulations. That's what legal entity. But within the legal entity, we have another organization which does the actual business. Have you seen out of these three anything, any business, any branch which is doing actual business? Nothing. Nobody's business group is something, ledger is something, legal entity is something. They are not dealing with the customer, they are not dealing with suppliers. Then who is doing the business? So there should be an organization which does the actual business. That's what we call it as operating unit. When you say operating unit, the name itself is indicating it is the company which is operating and which is going to do the business with supplier, with customer. So whatever I am selling, my sales, whatever I am buying, my buyings, no, my purchasing, my expense, my revenue, my payables I am paying to supply, my receivables I am receiving from the customer. Everything to the Tata Motor only again. Because ERP meant for only one company. So we are all working in Tata Motor for this case. Now operating unit where the payments happens, receivables happens, buying happens, sale happens, but our revenue meant for our branch. I don't want to disclose Andhra Pradesh or Telangana revenue with Gujarat revenue. But Tata Motor existing in Gujarat and Hyderabad in Telangana, then what happens? I don't want to Telangana people say from the Tata Motor Telangana branch should not share the credentials of revenues, payables, receivables to Gujarat branch. When you don't want to share, define it as separate operating unit. It is very simple. As long as you want to share, that's it. This is one organization, one operating unit. You want to share with Andhra Pradesh, then let us have for Andhra Pradesh, Telangana one operating unit only. I don't want one operating unit for Andhra Pradesh, for Telangana. Let us divide. Then Telangana operating unit, Andhra Pradesh operating unit, track Andhra Pradesh sales, track Andhra Pradesh revenue, Telangana revenue. That's it. But operating unit is the company which does the actual business in the market. So, operating unit is the company which is doing the business. Then, within the operating unit, we have another organization. We are dealing with the customer at operating unit level, with supplier with operating within operating unit level. We are doing receivings. We are doing payables. But what? Who is going to manufacture? Where are you keeping the items? Where do you keep the item? In the storeroom. That means storeroom is a part of warehouse. That warehouse is nothing but organization, but that is called as inventory organization. So within the operating unit, we are going to have Inventory, inventory organization. So I am writing only one here. Does it mean that we are going to have only one? You can have one business group or two business group, but one business group can have multiple ledgers. If you talk about one ledger, that one ledger can have multiple legal entities. If you take one legal entity, that legal entity can have different operating units, multiple operating units. If you take one operating unit, that one operating unit can have inventory organizations, different inventory organizations. But you have to remember why we are going to have multiple operating units, multiple legal entities, multiple ledgers, multiple business groups, multiple inventory organizations. That is what makes the difference. I told you, as long as you don't want to share, you maintain different operating units. Your profits, losses, revenues, you don't want to share with anybody. Let us define as two different operating units. Within the each operating unit, you should have inventory organization. Why? Because if you are doing the business from Hyderabad for the state of Telangana and Andhra Pradesh, only one branch, that is operating unit for the Telugu states, then I should have different branches. What are those branches? Those branches are nothing but inventory organization. Why? At Vijayawada we have one branch. At Visakhapatnam one branch. Why? To reach the respective customer. If you want to reach to Vijayawada customer, then you should have some branch at Vijayawada. If you want to reach Rajahmundry, then you should have Vijayawada branch. Then only you can reach. If you are maintaining Hyderabad branch, how can you reach immediately? You cannot. So that was the reason to facilitate, to reach the customer within the time and to reduce the expenses, our expenses. You should maintain different branches across the region. And you are maintaining one operating unit for Andhra Pradesh and Telangana. That means, considering Telangana and Andhra Pradesh, you should take some branches and decide the branch locations. Those branch locations can be distribution centers, can be manufacturing plant. I can have manufacturing plant at Hyderabad, but distribution center at Vijayawada and Visakhapatnam, so that manufacture in Hyderabad and distribute to Vijayawada and Visakhapatnam. And whenever there is a customer from Vijayawada, ship from Vijayawada. And whenever the customer nearby Visakhapatnam orders, so ship from Visakhapatnam. That means, what are these inventory organizations? Can be manufacturing plant, can be distribution center, whatever it may be. Those are nothing but warehouses. The warehouse maintains the items. Warehouse is so big. Warehouse is so big. Just a minute. Okay. Now, what is inventory organization? It's nothing but a warehouse. We are going to have multiple warehouses. What is the purpose of warehouse? To reach the customer within the time. That is the main aim. That is nothing but a warehouse. Warehouse is so big. Your cars are maintained in open yards. Will you maintain engine in the open yard? Tires in the open yard? Bolts and nuts in the open yard? Oil in the open yard? No, right? The finished goods car you are going to maintain in the open yard. Whenever I talk about bearings, nut, brakes, clutch, steering, tires, stereo system, deck system, infrastructure, chairs, and all those things, I cannot leave it open in the open yard. That means warehouse will be having different partitions. One partition meant for to keep the engine parts. To keep the engine parts. Similarly, to keep the bolts and nuts, to keep the bearings, engines, All those things we are going to maintain in separate partitions of warehouse. That's what we call it as. When it is inventory, the partition in the inventory is called as sub-inventory. That's what sub-inventory. Let us say sub-inventory. When it's sub-inventory, I told you this is the partition of your inventory organization. When it is sub-inventory, within the sub-inventory also, if I keep bearings, nuts, bolts, nuts and everything in one partition, whenever you want certain item, can you pick the item immediately from the sub-inventory? Simple example. You go to Koti market. I want a book. We know old book. Koti is famous for old books. You can get any book. Go there and ask for a book. Observe the person carefully. He brings the ladder. He puts the ladder. He climbs the ladder. Then he picks the item. He picks the book from certain location only. Why? Let us say we are three people from engineering, from medicine, and another guy is from civils. We asked three books. One is engineering mechanics. He brings the ladder, he puts somewhere, and he go to one direction and picks the book. Then medicine book, medical. He comes to somewhere, he will go to somewhere, and he picks one item from certain location, certain box. You can see box. We have walls. Within the walls, we have seven different racks. Do you agree for that? He picks the book from one rack, and somebody is from civils, so he asks for civils book, competitive examinations. So he brings the book. It is in front of you. Pick the book, he says. That means competitive examinations like civils exam book is maintaining in front of you. Medical books somewhere, engineering books somewhere. Somebody asks, I want novel. Novel. It is also in front of you. Pick the book, he says. It is simple. That means we have certain items to be kept at certain locations only. Similar to that, if you are manufacturing the car, I have engine, bearings, clutches, and brakes, steering, infrastructure, deck system, stereo system, everything, tires. Can I bring all these items in one room? No, right? We have racks. In one rack, I maintain 3-inch bolt and nut. We have belts. We have tires at one partition of sub-inventory. You remember inventory organization. Within the inventory organization, sub-inventory. Within the sub-inventory, we are keeping different items. But different items, are you keeping all the items in one room? No. There is a partition within the sub-inventory also. That means sub-inventory is the one particular partition. If you take for example, you are at institute, then definitely that building is having three floors. Somebody says ground floor, first floor, second floor, third floor. Building is nothing but warehouse, is nothing but inventory organization. Each floor has a sub-inventory. But within the each floor, if you entering into floor, then we have 1,000 square feet in which we have partition as one as classroom, another one is residential, another is reception, like that we have. Why we are going to have? So why can't we have the entire 1,000 square feet has one hall? You cannot. Similarly, the purpose of items, maintaining the items are different. The moment you enter into the floor, if that is the sub-inventory, I should have different racks. I want the first rack to be maintained with bearings, the second rack to be maintained with belts, the third rack should be maintained with some clutch plates. Like that we have 10 racks. And each rack is having first row, second row, third row, fourth row, fifth row, 5 rows. And in first row, I'm maintaining small items. Or in the first row, I'm maintaining big items. Small items I'm maintaining on top row. Then I want certain bearing, which is having diameter of this much. Bearings, if somebody says bearings are located in fifth rack, fifth row, third bin. Listen carefully. It is the final point. It is the final point that we are going to discuss for today. You are going to the sub inventory. That means in the building, business analyst building, we have reached to second floor. You entered into the second floor. Then you could see different racks. I told you pick the item from the fifth rack, fifth row, or fourth row, or third row, from third bin or second bin. The third row is having again partitions, which is nothing but a box kind of. So directly you go to fifth rack, count fifth row 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then count third bin 1, 2, 3. Pick the item. That will be exactly the item that you asked. Simple. That means it is the strategic manner to maintain the items by having row, rack, bins, which are nothing but partitions of the sub inventory, which are logically called as locators. What is a locator? Is nothing but row, rack, and bin. Have you understood? So Tata Motor should have this business group, ledgers, legal entities, operating units, inventory organizations, sub-inventories, locators, within the locators, row, rack, bin should be there for Tata Motors. Else, it can't do the business within India or across the world. This is the organization structure should be followed by any company which is doing the business across the world or within the country or within the state or within the city. This is what we call it as organization structure. Simply it is called as multi-org structure. We call it as multi-org structure. It's very important and always you will fail to answer why we are going to have multiple organizations. Anybody can tell what is the organization structure. Business group, general ledger, legal entity, operating unit, inventory organization, sub-inventory, locator, row, rack, bin. Anybody can tell. Can you tell me what is the reason behind having multiple legal entities or multiple ledgers? Why can't we have one ledger? Why can't we have one business group? Why can't we have one inventory organization? Why can't we have one sub-inventory? Why can't we have one locator? Why always you are having multiple locators within the one ledger or multiple ledgers within one business group? First of all, you tell me why we are going to have multiple business groups. Simple. If you can answer this, you are expert in organization structure. Because we are going to define the structure in the system. Then only the first one is going to be organization structure to be decided as a part of our discussion with the client. If you are a consultant from TCS and you are going to implement for Tata Motors as an ERP consultant, as a functional consultant for Oracle application, and you are the supply chain management or manufacturing guy who has gone there for Tata Motor, you have to deal with sales guy, buyer, production engineer, price, pricing a person like who decides the price of the item. All these things you have to interact with them, know the business how they are doing, and based on that you know the ERP, how Oracle works to their business process, how can we map this Oracle application to their requirement. That's what it is called as business process study and requirement gathering and solution design. These are the implementation phases. The first, we go for business process study. We have a business process study. Then study the business process, know the requirement by doing the requirement gathering. After knowing the requirement gathering, then based on your business process study, requirement gathering, you are already expert in Oracle ERP, and Oracle ERP is already available for Tata Motors. They bought the license and the product is available. By using that product for their business, how you are going to map, do it, and show to them. That's it. That's it for today. And somebody is having question. Tell me, what is your question?
Uh, Yeah, yeah, Mohan, this is Srinivas. Actually, as you talked about locators like row, rack, and bin. So, my question is like on the row and rack. So, which one will take the precedence when we are identifying an item?
Once again, could you please repeat again?
Yeah, yeah. Sorry. See, we have the locators like row, rack, and bin, right, to
Yep.
identify an item in the sub inventory.
Yep.
So, so when we are trying to practically identify like how the guy does in the Koti bookstore. So in the row and rack, like which one will take the first precedence?
That you are going to decide structure. If client says it is all, you are not going to decide. Client is going to decide how they are maintaining. They are already doing the business, right? You see the business and how they are maintaining. Are they having the racks like Koti bookstall? Okay. How they are numbering? You see the numbering. What precedent? You know what importance they have given. Like, are they giving importance to row, rack, bins in a sequence, or bin row, and rack? It's up to you. If client says my sequence is row, rack, bin, then you should follow that. Or otherwise rack, row, bin. Yes, rack 1, rack 2, rack 3, they are maintaining. Go to that rack, go to that row, then go to that bin. You have to decide. Somebody says row, rack, bin. Somebody says I have only row, rack and row. That means bin is not there. Then you don't no need to have three segments also. You can have two segments also. So it's all depending on client requirement. If requirement, you are already, when you are a functional consultant, you have to be at on site. You are going to the Tata Motor company. You are going to the storeroom and how they are maintaining the items. You are going to see and analyze yourself and whatever the method they follow. And you want they want the same thing, or you can suggest row rack bin. I can have additional column, additional segment. Yes, you can suggest them. If they agree, go for three. If they won't agree, we are using only two, go for two. Yes, you can go for two. And you want five, you can go for five. It's up to you. This is what importance they give. The same importance to be followed. Accordingly, you can go ahead. I hope you understood.
Yeah, yes, yes, Mohan, thanks.
Yeah. That's it for today. Tomorrow we are going to see, based on this organization structure, we are going to discuss all these transactions, inventory. In the inventory, we have why we are getting all these organizations. These are all the organizations are branches, warehouses. One is this is one manufacturing unit, this is another manufacturing unit. These are all different distribution centers. Okay, so let us discuss in depth. Tomorrow we are going to see some of the transactions from inventory. In the transactions we have sub-inventory transfer, and we have miscellaneous transaction, intra-organization transfer, and what else? We have some of the functionality, very important functionalities like move orders, what kind of move orders we have, what is transact move order, how we are going to reserve the item, and how can we see the on-hand quantity that is existing in the quantity, and what else? Then how to see the on-hand quantity. And apart from that, we have counting methods. How can you count? Like, always there should be a systematic manner to maintain the quantities, and we are able to see, like we can see different counting methods. We are important one is cycle counting, physical inventory. These are very important, we are going to see. And we have plannings, min max planning, and all those. That's what we are going to see one by one. And we are going to complete all these transactions, then we go for the inventory setups. Okay, and you have any question?